crunch, bring it back, single leg swing. Let me teach you how to wrestle. Okay. Let me teach you how to wrestle.
All right, we're gonna go through them again. Pin or tech?
The one scat.
Tech. Tech. Display of dominance. Yes.
Strength or speed?
Speed.
Speed kills.
Probably good, yeah.
Favorite of the underdog?
It is traditionally won me a lot of matches, so I'll stick with speed.
Would you rather be the favorite or the underdog?
Favorite.
Yeah, I am usually, for some reason, people put me in as an underdog, and it's been working for me, so I'm going to continue to stick with the underdog.
Underdog. All right, Jeff.
Mentally tough or really confident? Gun to the head. Got to pick one.
Mentally tough.
Yeah.
Back against the wall, I want the tough guy.
I'll go with tough, too, just because confidence without the skill to back it up is pretty pointless.
It's just hubris.
Yeah, hubris.
You like that?
I do.
Good word.
That's Greek.
Ivy League Jan.
There it is.
Great athleticism or great technique?
Technique. Yeah, you can.
I know a lot of
You
good
can get
athletes
through
I
it.
would beat in a wrestling match.
Yeah.
If you wrestle anywhere but here, where would it be? Is that a good question? Did we not put that on?
That's
Like,
Okay, forget that.
I would like to wrestle.
No,
I'd like to
like
wrestle in
something
Dagestan though.
Okay, in a different country.
I like to
You
wrestle.
want to do
in
a different
Dagestan.
country? Different country.
I would like to go to
wrestle.
Dagestan for like a month.
If you
Oh, I'd love to go to Japan for a month.
Japan would actually be really cool. That's a good one.
Why don't we sit that?
We probably could.
Probably could.
do we do this?
Dagestan,
Did we do pin or tech? Did you do pin or tech?
We did do better.
Said
tech.
tech.
This time it was just a quick one.
That's right. Longer, lanky, short, and stocky.
Would you rather wrestle a kid who's long and lanky or short and
I'm
stocky?
gonna go long and lanky.
So I'm going short and stocky here. Yeah, I just haven't had much trouble against short and
I feel like with the long guys, it's like
Except for Chaz,
more
actually.
leg.
Now that I think about it, Chaz gave me a bunch of. Chaz Tucker was. I lost
He
my
was
wrestle
actually
off.
really
him.
tough.
Yeah, no, he couldn't get underneath it. But he was super short and stocky, you know.
He was the ultimate short and
Sorry,
stocky.
Chaz.
New Jersey or New York?
And what?
Overall, life.
In life,
I gotta stick to New York.
I'm not.
Off pride for my hometown, but
I'd be shocked if either of you said New Jersey.
Yeah,
it's
I'm
a,
gonna go
it's,
with
a,
New York.
it's a sweet place.
Cut the interview. Cut the
It's a sweet
interview.
place, but I like New York.
I try not to get into the
State politics.
Oh, it's better Jersey and New York. Nah, our pizza's better. No, our bagels are better. Like, come on, man. It's basically the same thing. Like, it's 5 minutes apart.
What a good ones. If you could wrestle anyone in history, who would it be? Any wrestler, roughly your weight.
Satiev or John Smith?
Who do you think you'd do better against for your style?
That's a good question.
John Smith. Because he invented the low single, but now it exists already. The shock fact. I'm like, I got him. And I'm a little bigger, which definitely helps me. And I think he's cool. Like, he was real scrambly, and like, I remember my dad always wanted me to wrestle like John Smith, so it'd be cool to wrestle with him.
Yeah, it's probably. I mean, I'd love to wrestle some of the guys that like. I'd love to wrestle my dad in his prime.
Prime Bogart.
My dad in his prime when he was winning worlds, but also like
Like a 105 guy?
I'm probably well, yeah.
We'll scale him up.
Scale me down or scale him up, but no, actually, it's pretty. I don't know if I want. He'd probably hurt me. Pretty aggressive little guy, you know. But John Smith too. I would have loved to have just like I don't know, been in a practice room with Fidzayev.
Your dad always talked about
Yeah, my dad growing up was like always talking about Arsene Fidzayev because he was in the same like room with him. Like, this guy is the best. Like I would have loved to have fucking to watch them wrestle or grab them a little bit, but you know.
Outside each other, who would be the best workout partner? Is that a good one? I don't know.
Best workout partner.
Who would be a good
I gotta
workout?
think about
Would,
that.
I don't know.
I mean, we bring in some pretty good guys, like Stevan Micic, kind of
World
splits
champ.
the weight between both of us. Won Worlds with me last year, and you know he comes in and out.
Like I've wrestled with. I mean, we've wrestled with a lot of them, like Kyle Dake, and
yeah,
you know, it'd be cool to wrestle with Sidakov. I think he's really, really good guy around my size. I always used to think I'd like to wrestle Odaguro because he's one of like the top guys at 65 kilos for a really long time. I never really got to wrestle him.
I'd love to grab like Odaguro or like Ray Higuchi.
Japan, dude.
He should
You
set
gotta
it up.
go.
Yeah. All right. We've learned something.
Who would you wrestle if you could pick anyone in the world to wrestle now? Who would you want to wrestle against?
Sidakov. but he's a little big.
You know, someone in your weight. Now pick someone in your weight. Who would you want a piece of right? Is that a bad question?
No, I mean just like who would I want to wrestle?
Who would you want to wrestle?
I mean,
I'm not calling him out.
Kind of.
I'd love to wrestle Magomedov again, just because he was like the defending world champion, and you know I got him this year, but like I want to see if I just like surprised him and got him, or if I'm actually better. So I'd like to have a rematch. I probably will get one next year at the weight, but yeah, I'm excited to see how I would do. You know, now that he's felt me and seen my style and stuff, like, you know, where am I actually? Because at the first time, could be a fluke. Who knows? You know, so I wanna see if I can just keep it going.
Yianni, who do you want a piece of?
I'd like to wrestle. I'd like to wrestle Odaguro. I was saying he's one of the top guys. And I honestly like Zane Rutherford. Like competing against him that year in 2019, I feel like really pushed me. I feel like I improved a lot over that period of time, and like having Zane, you know, whether it felt like he was chasing me or I was chasing him, I feel like he really pushed me to get better. Is that girl wearing wrestling shoes?
Yes.
She is.
Yep.
Should we say something? I guess not. That's a little bit weird.
Hey, I like your shoes.
How do you guys stay focused, like when you're not competing anytime soon, right? I don't know, when is the next competition, and how do you stay focused when there's not maybe a competition in the next month or so?
You know,
Assuming.
I'd say like it's important to recognize when to take a break. It's hard to stay focused forever. You know, people have, you know, there should be a time where it is go, and like a majority of the year is go time, but you have to build in also like, you know, a little time off, a little bit of reset, and then like, you know, but yeah. So I think, but staying focused on the fact that like we are taking a break in order to prepare for then coming back into training to then like, you know, accomplish a goal.
I feel like to me, there's like different types of focus, right? So when you're competing soon, it's like in shape. You know, my strength and conditioning is on point. My technique's on point for this specific tournament. You know, I'm sharpening everything up for a big event, right? But like this time of year, right, it's different focus. You know, it's not as conditioning oriented. It's not as much like I'm preparing for a tournament as much it is to me, like I'm evaluating, I'm assessing kind of where I need to improve, and then I'm looking to make those technical changes, right? So this time of year, it's like, hey, maybe my hand fighting needs work. Maybe my footwork needs work. I need to develop my foot speed, or my single leg finishes need work, right? Whereas sometimes during the year, it's hard to take the time to really slow stuff down and make those changes because you need to be ready to go for the next competition. But you know, these little down periods, for me, it's like we can slow it down, do technique, and it's not real tough, not real, you know, not much of a grind on the body, but it is going to help you improve just in a different way.
I go, if you could heal one part of your body completely, what would it be?
My knees.
Is that bad to
back.
say? Because maybe does that telegraph something?
No.
If you could heal one part of
It's
your
already
body, what would it
hurt.
be?
Yeah, he's got like 7 spine injuries.
Yeah, if I could pick my entire spine, I would do that. Yeah.
I would pick like my knees. I've had a lot of knee surgeries. Maybe my elbows, so they're not so knobby. But at this point, they've kind of
like
I became close to them.
Yeah, character.
It's like part of my character
identity.
design.
Yeah.
Probably my knees. My knees are. I've had a lot of knee surgeries. I'm sure they do good now, but I'm sure at some point down the line that's gonna get me.
I have a lot of like hip and lower back injury. So like if I could like
Draw a
here, yeah, like that, I'd fix that.
Olympic predictions.
Okay.
Let's go through a men's freestyle.
We want all the Americans to win, of course.
Team
And
USA.
our friends from that wrestled in America that are wrestling overseas, we
Like
like to
to
see
root
them
for
do
them
well
as well.
too.
Yeah. I think probably. Well, we got Spencer at 57, right? Who's his toughest opponent there? I mean, you got a couple. You got like
The top tier is like Higuchi, Avakarov, Micic,
Uguev.
Agulev.
Yeah. So I mean,
Dudes, they were all.
it can
50-50.
actually all fall into any spot. Like I can see any of them beating any of them.
I feel like a lot of it is the matchup
Yeah.
because I think
Like Aguiev can beat.
he I mean, I'm interested. I feel like what I think with Abakarov, now that they're not letting the Russian chancellors train in Russia anymore, I think that could really hurt his performance because he's losing access to all that training.
Yeah, that is true. So, as for predictions, one of those 5 people in the 1, 2, and 3 spot. Where do I think Spencer can go? Spencer can... Wrestling those guys, I think Spencer can win. I expect him to medal. But whether he takes first, second, or third, I'm unsure.
I see him medaling.
I see him medal.
Because I do think he'll beat one of those guys.
Yeah.
But I think what makes it tough is when you got to beat 3 or 4 in a row. And he like the fact that he could beat any of them kind of leads me to believe like, well, why can't he beat all of them? But I think it is difficult, right? So I think the draw matters. No, but also yeah, winning the Olympics is hard. But it's like let's say one side is Higuchi, and on the other side is Micha Zabakarov, Aguev, and Spencer. Like Higuchi's got a really good chance of winning because he only has to beat one of those guys. You know what I mean? But those guys can go through a minefield, come out of that, be exhausted, cut weight, and then turn around and try to wrestle Higuchi. Like, that's going to make it difficult. So I don't know. I have to look at the seeds.
Yeah.
65, I definitely think there's like a curse. No one repeats at 65 kilo, which is bad for my guy, Musakaya, because I really like him. He's a nice guy. Amuzad seems like kind of the front runner. But he took 5th in the world, so I guess not really. But I feel like that upper echelon of guys, it's like a Muzad.
The time is now to take your mindset to the next level with Wrestling Mindset. Make sure you go to our website, wrestlingmindset.com, and sign up for your free trial session today. Don't wait any longer. You want the mental edge right now. When you sign up for the free trial session, you're also going to get a copy of our free ebook, Building the Predator Mindset. This book has helped thousands of people build confidence, relax under pressure, get motivated, and build mental toughness in wrestling, school, and life. Make sure you sign up for your free trial session today.
Mamedov from Russia and Musakayev kind of seem like they've cracked in that top tier. Tolga Temurochir from Mongolia is really good. Really good. Like he could have won the Worlds with the path that he had. He kind of lost to Haji Aliyev, who was silver in the Olympic Games.
Pretty good.
3-time world champion. He lost to Haji Aliyev 3-3, kind of like controversially. And then he would have had, if he had won, he would have had Tivanian, who he was 3-0 against. Rivera, who I think he's wrestled before. And then Musakayev, who he's 3-0 against. So he didn't medal and he could have won. And it literally just like one match kind of didn't go his way. Which just shows like the parity of the weight.
Who would you say goes like...
I think Rutherford, like what he's going to have going for him, he's going to be huge. He's going to be in really, really good shape. And I think he's pretty tough to wrestle. Like, he's not going to be like a free out. So I think actually the deeper into the tournament, the more it favors him because, like, yes, these guys are going to wrestle harder, but like the day wears you out and he will not wear out. He will not wear down.
He gets into the semis, like he's probably winning the semis. They do the semis
that day.
Yeah, that day, right?
But I think again, right, it's super draw dependent because the style matchups are so different. Like I could see him doing really well against like Musakayev, struggling more with a guy like Mamedov who's really shifty and really good off of your attacks and scoring. Right? So it's like it's the same. 6 dozen, one hand, half dozen the other.
Yeah, so.
Or 6 and one hand, half dozen. 74, it's like a 2-horse race. I think Kyle will get him. He does a really good job, I feel like, of like wrestling a guy and picking up what they do and changing. And that was actually the first time he ever wrestled Sidakov.
Yeah.
And Sidakov, you could tell, had a really good plan on how to wrestle him and crackdown. Which kind of leads me to believe that Kyle's going to be able to adjust.
Kyle historically adjusts
really
very well, and yeah, he has no problem like changing what he's doing right now. You know, he's not like a lot of people get attached to like
what they
this
do.
Is what I do. He has no problem being like, all right, let's change it.
He's like, I do this now.
Yeah, now this is me. This is the new improved Kyle dude. But no, I really do hope that he gets it too.
Yeah,
he's one of those guys that kind of deserves to get one. You know,
yeah, it feels like it. Feels like I think Sidakov could be like the best guy in the world.
Yeah.
Like if you had to rank the pound for pound, he might be ranked number 1 right now. But I do think Kyle would be there. But I mean, he's very good. I think Kyle would be there.
right? Next weight, 86.
It feels like a 2-horse race because Brooks beat Taylor, but he almost lost his heat too. So it really makes it like I have no clue. I think he's gonna do really well. I mean, he beat David Taylor,
right?
one of the
Like,
greatest American wrestlers.
Yeah,
of
but
our
then
time.
you have to think like,
Basically
how much
shut
of
him
that
down,
is
too.
like,
Yeah, which
That's
is crazy.
like I wonder if like just being from the same room and like having that like
How much the knowledge?
Feel for it?
yeah like just he was insider trading, you know,
was
like,
insider trading.
but
You know, he kind of has a really similar style to Yianni.
he does just
It's like punch, hook, under, over. Really, really wrestles hard, snaps.
I'd be really.
I wanna
interested to
watch
see
that
how that
match.
match goes. Yeah, that could be fun.
I know
Hopefully it will
Yianni's
be
coming
fun.
off of an injury, which kind of makes me feel like maybe Brooks has the edge there. Because his whole thing's conditioning, and it's like
Yeah,
the recovery
taking
process
some
slows
time
you down.
off is gonna
You know what I mean?
be tough on him.
And not like he's old, but he's getting older. I think Brooks is like he's young and excited. It's his first world team.
Yeah, and those, I mean, those Penn State guys are
They do a good job preparing. If it's like, oh, I have to beat one guy, they're gonna do a good job to get ready for it.
Yeah.
It's one thing they historically do. really
I
well.
could see Brooks. I could see him doing very well. Yeah, I see him better.
Yeah.
All right, how about it's 96, 97, whatever the weight is?
Almost all of our guys are a shoe in the middle.
It feels like that.
I feel like going through it right now. Like, I
But
can't
it's
imagine-
also like the draw.
Yes, of course. But like,
Because what's crazy is like we say that, but like Spencer could lose to like a Guev and a Burner, and then a Guev could lose to Mijic or lose to Abakarov, and then it's like.
yeah, and it's gone, right?
But it's like it's so tough.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's such a tough.
It is. But at the same time, yeah, our guys are definitely skilled enough to all medal. You know, I can't imagine.
It's silly to say that they should medal because it's the Olympic Games, but like they should.
They're just that good, you know. So,
97. I feel like Tazudinov may have had like a shock factor benefit, where he kind of like burst onto the scene. Also, like the political situation, I don't know if Sadulayev will wrestle, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
What's
so-
going on with the IOC, and he's really like left in limbo, which would leads me to believe that Snyder will have a good Olympic Games. I mean, not like those guys can't be there for him to succeed, but the combination of like he's wrestled Tazudinov and felt him, and Sadulayev being in like kind of limbo makes me feel like he'll be the most prepared guy, because he'll be the only one who, you know, he's felt Tazudinov, right? So he's like, all right, I know what I'm getting into. Probably going to be really aware. He got chest wrapped 3 times, so it's like I know to be aware of the chest wrap, but I know to, you know, they're going to make that adjustment. And then him versus Sadulayev, he's only beaten Sadulayev when Sadulayev was like out of shape, not really adjusted. And I think this is kind of a similar situation where, like, I don't know what his preparation, what his mindset's going to be like. Where I think it gives Snyder the edge, where like he's ready and he knows.
All right, go USA Wrestling. Go heavyweight.
Don't forget the big guys.
Mason.
Heavyweight is deep.
Let's go,
we
Mason.
almost forgot.
I didn't, but it's super deep.
What you
He
got?
took third. He took
Taha
third.
Ghul.
You got
He took
Taha,
third in a
you
weight
got
with like all of
Zare.
them. Taha, Zare, Gino Petrashvili, China's
guy.
really tough.
That guy's
Mongolia's
sticking
tough.
This is a really tough weight.
And these people have sticking power. Sheesh.
Big
I
heavyweights.
mean, yeah, try to move that you know, just about 300 pounds.
Yeah, a 280-pound block of muscle.
Yeah.
Your guess is as good as ours.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see you in Paris. good stuff.
All right, I got the quick ones. The one we missed in the beginning. What makes wrestling so great?
You get that one in the beginning?
What makes wrestling so great?
A long one for that.
No, it was just, yeah. What makes wrestling great? It's, you know, it's one of the only things kind of left in this world where it's like I can. It's just me and another person, and there's a winner and there's a loser, and so because of that, everything is on me, right? I'm basically betting on myself, right? My preparations, everything that's led me to this moment, and my ability in this match is going to be, you know, the determiner of the winner, right? So I really love the competitive aspect of it, and yeah.
My dad used to call it like a barbaric art, where it's pretty, intense. It's tough. It's combat, right? But because of the depth of technique and the skill pool you kind of have to pull from, it makes the sport really, interesting. I think there's a lot of different ways that you can succeed in we were talking about the Olympic preview, right? Like all the little style matchups, the amount of things that can happen, it makes it really interesting. So I have this kind of poetic respect for it. And then as far as the athletes, it's like, you're not doing this for any kind of fame or love, really. Like, I don't think anyone would get into wrestling because they want to be rich and famous. So I have a lot of respect for the guys. A lot of times they're doing it because it's something they're really passionate about. And, having something like that, something you really care about like that is special.
Why should a young kid who's still developing so much technically and physically, why should they start thinking about training their mindset in addition to all the technique they have to learn, all the physical skills they have to develop?
So for me, I think that, focusing on my mindset and like the mental side of wrestling really helped me put together the physical side. Helped me become more self-aware, helped me like kind of have more focus in certain areas and in the heat of the moment too. So I think ultimately they complement each other, and it's important to, because at some point you're going to get to a point where you think you've done, a really good job in the one, but you're not seeing the results you want. Maybe it's because you lacked the other supporting side of it.
So maybe Yianni, you take the other side of that. Why should a 4-time NCAA champ, a world medalist, continue to work on his mindset? Clearly you have a strong mindset to do that, right?
Yeah, I mean,
why should you continue to develop mentally?
It just feels like you can always get better. It just depends on what your goals are, right? But if your goals are to compete, ever again, then you need to be improving constantly, right? And if you're not addressing those faults in your mind, and we all have them, right? And there's no one who's got a steel trap mind, perfectly tough, perfectly disciplined, perfectly focused individual, right? Knows exactly when to turn it on and off. So I think, unless it's like, hey, I'm done wrestling, I'm like, all right, maybe you need to change the way you think in a different way, right? For your new goals. But if you want to succeed in the sport, you have to do it, right? Because I just, gonna keep stressing it. You can always be a little bit better. And a lot of times when you are successful like that, if you haven't been doing it, it feels like, oh, well, why do I need to do it? But there's going to be new heights that you can get just from making this little change that could be just as much of a difference as adding a new technique or picking up a different strength program, different diet, right? All those little things, they add up. And I think training your mind is just another opportunity to improve. And when you're at the top like that, it's so hard to find places to get better, right? Not so hard, but there's just less of them. And that's one that can really help.
I got a good one, probably even from the things that you've seen that we've put out, wrestling mindset, whether it be any videos or any of the philosophies that we talked about. What are maybe one or two of your favorite things, or you think most insightful things that you've heard from wrestling mindset specifically?
One thing that I see that I really can get behind is how, you guys are always stressing, right? Obviously the goal is to win matches, but a lot of what you guys focus on kind of revolves around being a great individual, right? And being great as a wrestler, but not because you're winning, because you're bettering yourself, right? And I think even just viewing the sport in that way alone goes a really long way, because you start to change the way you think, where it's like, oh, if I'm winning, good, if I'm losing, bad. But now kind of having that approach, it's like, if I'm competing well, I'm training well, I'm doing the right things, that's good. If I'm not competing well, if I'm not training well, if I'm not wrestling well, I'm not doing the right things, it's bad, right? So you kind of center it more about what you can do, as opposed to like making this like, hey, this is going to make you win more. It's like, no, this is going to make you a better individual, which I think is really cool.